I'm Chris.
And I'm Rachel.
And today we are at the Menacing Wetlands. Have you noticed anything? Maybe all the bugs?
There's a definite sound of mosquitoes going on right now, but we're willing to take on mosquitoes just to show you guys a good time, and that a good time can be had right here in the Menacing Swamp.
And to look for snakes. So we came off of Richardson Road in Edenvale.
Yep.
And we are going to meet up with David Featherstone from the Nottawasaga Conservation Authority, and he's going to show us around, and we're going to go look for stuff.
And he's very knowledgeable. He knows all about the plants and the wildlife in this area, including the birds, which I'm really looking forward to learning about.
And frogs, which we saw on the way up.
Yeah.
So you ready to get going?
Yes.
All right.
Go ahead. Ladies first?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
All right. Well, nothing happened on the way in, so we're all right so far.
We're doing A-okay. So we found a burrowing crayfish home here. It's also known as a chimney crayfish.
I wonder why.
Ah, I know, eh? And apparently these guys, they're about yay big, and they come out and they have their claw, and they have their dirt on the claw, and they just come up and go blip, and then pat it down, and then they go back down and pull it up. And they basically, what they do is they make their own indoor swimming pool. And the males advertise with these great big chimneys, and of course the bigger your chimney, the more the ladies come looking for you.
That's a life lesson right there.
Yeah, so I think maybe we should leave this guy to find himself some ladies.
Well, and these can also be used by lots of other animals as well. Insects will come along. Everything is used by insects.
Apparently there's a dragonfly that only lives in this area and actually uses the indoor swimming pool as a part of its growth pattern. So I think it lays its eggs in there and raises its babies and grows up to eat more mosquitoes, which we need more of. Keep working. Holy! Did you hear that frog yelling at us? That was awesome. Well, obviously we're in the middle of Menacing Swamp, as evidenced by the incredibly loud frog. And I'm here with David Featherstone, who actually knows more about plants and birds and the like than I do, which is pretty incredible because I know a lot. And I'm modest too. So you've been here for how long?
I've been up in the area for about 11 years now, and try to get into menacing wetlands as often as I can to just experience the wonder of the wetlands and occasionally the hordes of mosquitoes.
Yes, the mosquitoes a little bit more than usual right now. Like, is this abnormal or?
In these silver maple swamps, which we're in the middle of right here, they're always really bad this time of year. It's something else, and
that's why you end up with ginormous bullfrogs screaming at you from the river.
Exactly, and large patches of wood nettle and stinging nettle that you try to avoid at all costs.
Yes,
yeah.
Which we are standing in the middle of because it makes sense. So this looks like an area that would have a lot of turtles and that kind of thing. And you said there's actually quite a few endangered species of turtles here.
Yes, that's right. We have a number of turtle species in here, some that are endangered and threatened. Blanding's turtle, spotted turtle, and wood turtle, for example, are either threatened or endangered in this area. And menacing wetlands, it's a huge wetland, and it provides all the habitat elements that those turtles need to survive.
Do you have people who go through and count turtles, or just regular Joes who come through and go, hey, I saw a turtle?
A little bit of both. There's some real active naturalists in the area that come in and work in menacing and
Nice.
Look for things like that. We also have Nature Conservancy Canada that come in and do some work, and McMaster University is actually doing a study on Blanding's turtle right now. Menacing offers a whole variety of habitats. Forests like we're in now, which are almost Carolinian in nature.
It is. It actually reminds me very much of Carolina.
Yeah, it almost looks like, the southeast United States, like a swamp there. We also have forests that remind you very much of northern Ontario. And so you get different species that utilize those areas. So it has a whole mix of habitats and also some healthy upland habitats next to it that help support all aspects of their life cycle.
That's very interesting. And how large is Menacing Swamp? Like, what is the acreage?
It's 6,000 hectares or 15,000 acres, whatever unit of measurement you want to look at.
And it's all protected?
It is a provincially significant wetland. In fact, it's an internationally significant wetland, so it ranks up there with the Florida Everglades, which is another internationally significant one. No alligators,
Okay.
no. So we have stinging nettle and lots of mosquitoes, but no alligators.
No alligators, okay. Well, what's so important about keeping a wetland going? Like, it's just a big, wet, marshy, who cares kind of place. And a lot of people think that, you know, that it's just a wet place. Get rid of it and let's make some area that can actually be used for farming.
Right. I think wetlands are important for so many reasons. They help filter. They help filter water as they passes through. So the water leaving Menacing wetlands is noticeably different than what comes in.
So it's cleaner?
It's cleaner. It's almost like nature's kidneys. It helps filter the stormwaters as they move through from upstream. It's also really important from another water aspect. Menacing wetlands holds back water before it's sent back downstream again. The town of Wasaga Beach, for example, benefits from this. They have several days of warning before a flood actually passes through Menacing and works its way downstream. Whereas an upstream community like Angus may only have a few hours to prepare for a flood event. The town of Wasaga Beach benefits from this wetland being here. It's really important for the town.
Oh, things you never knew about Menacing Swamp. So
Plus all the great wildlife, you know, the things we like as ecologists and naturalists. There is all of that in Menacing, but it's so much more than just the birds and bees and the trees and the turtles that are in here. The wetlands are important for so many reasons.
well, that's why I'm here. So let's go see if we can find some more birds and bees and flowers and trees.
Sounds good to me.
All right. You succulents.
Got him?
Got it.
Nice.
Got him. Got him.
Leopard
Got
frog.
him. Got him, Chris. Yoo-hoo. So what do we got here? I don't know. What are we doing?
That looks like a leopard frog.
Yes. And how can we tell that it's a leopard frog?
Well, number one, they're really jumpy. They're one of the best jumpers in the frog world, at least in this area, and generally green or light tawny with the real black rounded splotchy spots on them.
Okay. And then they've got these goldish kind of lines down their backs, correct?
That's right, yeah, that's another good sign.
And he's exceedingly feisty. We've been seeing these guys the entire time. This is the first one I've been able to catch. So let's see. Let's take
If you're in Menacing in the spring, that's when the leopard frogs are breeding. And sometimes that's all you can hear in the marshes are leopard frogs, and they sound like some people say they sound like an old man snoring.
Really?
Yeah. And it's quite it's something to hear when you're in the middle of the marsh and all you can hear are these leopard frogs calling.
That's pretty neat. Mm-hmm. And it's only the males that call, correct?
That's correct, yeah.
So you look at the size of those legs, they're really long. They don't look too muscular, but they can jump like crazy. And he's a little calmer now because he's probably enjoying the warmth of my hand. But we could put him back down. We can actually see how far he jumps. If he feels like jumping, which he doesn't, of course.
Look at how he blends into the vegetation.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just absolutely perfectly. Yay, nets. So in the name of science and education, I am going to zorch myself with some wood nettle. And this is going to be very painful. And I think we're getting used to me doing stupid things on this show. But we do have a cure, hopefully, in one of these various green plants.
That's right, this is jewelweed, and later in the summer it'll have a really nice orange flower on it. But the juice from the jewelweed actually helps. I'm not sure if it's going to cure your nettle problem, but it will hopefully help soothe the burning sensation
I don't
and
know if
stinging
it's a
that you
nettle
get.
problem or if it's something up here, but we're going to try it. So this is it. It has very large leaves, and honestly, it has what looks like little needles all over it. And if I remember correctly, it's underneath the leaf as well as the stem.
And along the stem, yes.
All right, so this is gonna hurt, but let's see what happens. It's gonna be this one again. So. Oh, jeez, that hurts. Oh, see, I didn't even do that for very long. that was Herdy. So he did it just in a line here. I'm like sacrificing blood here, so you just juice it up?
Juice it all up,
Okay.
rub it on the affected area.
So like aloe vera.
Yeah, that's correct.
So is the rubbing, like, will it pull out any of the little needles that are in there?
I don't
or
believe
is it
so.
the actual juice
I think
itself?
it's the juice that helps soothe that
Okay.
burning, stinging sensation.
It's a
from the
very
nettle.
juicy plant, that's for sure.
It is. It's
Yeah.
somewhat similar to aloe vera that way, for
Yeah.
sure.
It's not as oily as aloe vera.
And the nice thing is they often grow side by side. So
Right.
if you do run into it by accident, you can often find the jewel
We can
leaf.
see how it's getting red here. And that's only a very light touch. So this isn't stuff you want to fall in or accidentally go to the bathroom in, because that would be even worse, I think, than poison ivy, which I've also done. And it's not pleasant. Cool.
How does it feel?
Actually, like nothing's there at all now.
Wow, that's
Yeah,
great.
it's actually quite surprising. We'll give it a few minutes though. I have to like keep
It may come
applying
back.
apply as necessary. All right, awesome. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. That's stinging nettle.
That's stinging
Yeah.
nettle too.
Yeah. So it's
It's much thinner leaves.
that's right. There's a couple of different kinds. I think this is the European variety, so it's actually
So they're
somewhat of
coming
an
from
invasive.
Europe or they're coming from Canada and they're all going to sting you.
That's right, and they're all coming together just to get you.
And this one for the jewelweed, it helps with that one as well.
Yeah, it's very similar. They're stinging nettle and wood nettle are all in the same family, and the jewelweed, yeah, it helps provide that, or helps calm that burning and stinging sensation.
Well, it's working as long as I have it on the actual sting. But it's definitely irritated, as they would say.
And again, the nettles don't have any long-term
Right.
impacts on you like poison ivy. It's a temporary thing that usually fades away in 2 or 3 hours.
Well, I'm not overly concerned about that. I'm really surprised at how very little it took for it to, to sting pretty badly.
Yes, and even
Like
Yeah.
even a light brush, So, not a reason to not go into the woods, but a reason to not go too far into the woods.
swamp milkweed is a great plant for monarch butterfly caterpillars, and they will eat the leaves of this, and it's really important for monarchs. They're a species of special concern. They're in decline.
Yes.
And having swamp milkweed and also the common milkweed that you see in fields is really important for monarch survival. And my kids and I actually fed a monarch caterpillar the swamp milkweed leaves and kept it in a jar, and it formed its chrysalis, and we actually watched it come out as a monarch. It was awesome.
That's pretty cool. And monarchs can fly all the way to Mexico, so
Yes.
your monarch might be kicking it in Mexico right now. Well, it's a little late.
I think the great-great-great-great-grandchildren maybe.
Yeah. But these are actually really pretty. You can take these and plant them in your home, or at your home in your butterfly garden.
That's right. They're a great addition.
Yep. And they're actually really pretty. There's one just over there that's in full bloom, and it's even more gorgeous than this. So we'll hopefully get a shot of that one. But yeah, I'm learning a lot on this little walk.
And it's important for monarchs, but a whole bunch of other butterflies will actually
Yes.
feed off the nectar of the flowers as well.
And honeybees as well.
And honeybees and a whole bunch of insects. So it's an important plant.
There's actually right here, you can see a spittlebug
Yeah.
right here. And this is actually it's kind of a leaf hopper baby, pretty much, is what it is. I'm just actually going to break this, unfortunately. And you can clear this away, and there should be a little green, there he is, right there. Ow! Mosquito. Come here. You. And he's slimy the way you would expect a spittlebug to be. There he is, right there. And he's kind of angry at me right now. And what he'll do is he'll actually sit in there and he sticks his little proboscis into the plant, and this is all the plant's juices. And he squirts the juices out and leaves the spittle behind. And that's his defense because, let's see, yeah, it doesn't taste very good. So most critters probably wouldn't want to eat themselves a spittlebug because there's not a whole lot of meat there, and you have to go through a lot of growth to get to it.
This is actually an area that was selectively cut about 5 or 6 years ago, and So there's still a fair number of canopy trees here,
Right.
but there's definitely a lot more light penetrating down to the forest floor here than what we saw earlier.
And how long ago was that?
That would have been 5 or 6 years ago.
Okay.
And again, we're trying to keep the forest as healthy as possible. Selective logging, can be a management tool in menacing. We typically don't look for that. We do have a couple of recent cuttings that were more substantial in nature, where it was supposed to be a selective cut, but it was quite heavy. And it's basically turned this closed forest, which is great for a whole raft of forest bird species, into almost an open savanna.
Right.
And so those birds that require the deep core forest don't find suitable habitat there anymore, and it's going to be a number of years until that forest regenerates again.
Right.
So.
And we're basically just learning how to forest manage instead of just forestry. It's forest management.
Right, and there's sustainable ways to manage forests for sure, and that's certainly something that we, if there's harvesting proposed, we definitely want to promote those sustainable practices.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's continue to see if we can find Chris, because I have no idea where that guy is. He's sunk into the swamp. He's going to be the next bog man. I see you've got your sleeves down to maximize coverage.
This is the ultimate in bug spray.
Yes, it is. Long sleeves, very good idea. Pants, socks, very good idea, because there are ticks in the woods. We were reading about ticks the other day.
Yeah.
So I don't know if there's so much ticks here right now. It's a little wet, but there are mosquitoes, obviously. And now we're going to head somewhere else, and Dave is going to lead us out.
Sounds good.
All right.
We're back, and now we have toured some of the menacing wetlands. We're going to go check out some more.
Yes.
How's the hand?
Actually, it's not bad. I can't even see. For a little while, it looked kind of like a mosquito bite. You could see where the little holes are, where the spikes went in. And it raised up a little bit like a mosquito bite. Now it itches like an old mosquito bite, and I can pretty much guarantee you.
How can you tell that's not just some of the many, many mosquito bites we got when we were in there?
I kept track of all of those.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they don't like me very much. They buzz around, they land on me. I must not taste good or something.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
they preferred me.
Yeah.
I'm good meat.
I sent them all your way.
Yeah,
So your blood is tasty.
it is. So let's
So
go.
where are we going to go now?
We're going to follow the trail down here. We're going to go hook up with David again, and we're going to look for plants and animals.
This is Queen Anne slice, which is very nice. It's also known as wild carrot. And this is wild parsnip, which, not very tasty. This one's not bad. If you can pull it up, and the root smells exactly like carrot. You can actually eat it. It's very tough. You have to cook
I don't think so.
it. No. It's not Wendy's, eh?
It's no Wendy's.
It's
Yeah.
not Wendy's. And here we have some more milkweed.
So we might see more butterflies. There's open fields. It's a little drier right now.
Yeah, it is a little drier, so maybe we might see some. But there's actually quite a bit of milkweed here.
And not as many mosquitoes yet either.
Oh, there's another weevil. Another milkweed weevil.
See, David's coming down the trail now. I'm hearing birds all over the place. What's going on with all the birds,
Hey,
David?
Chris. It's a great open area for birds that like these open habitats. The common yellowthroats in particular are in fine voice today. They're really stirring up a storm.
And before you guys got here, I saw a green heron up there as well. So that's the
Right.
second one I've seen since we got here. And this is so different from the other part that we just came from with the menacing wetlands. It's open.
It's
Different
open.
kind of wildlife coming into this sort of thing?
Definitely. You get open country birds like common yellowthroat, and further along the trail and even back behind us, we have sedge marshes and cattail marshes that host a whole bunch of different kind of wetland birds. Virginia rails, soras, least bitterns, which are an endangered species. There's
okay.
all sorts of interesting bird life. And you're right, very different than what we were hearing in the forest. In fact, there's been a pair of bald eagles that has nested in menacing wetlands since about
Really?
2006. And so every year they come back, and we're not sure if it's the same pair or not, but every year they seem to produce juveniles, and you often see them in Collingwood in the wintertime feeding off the harbor before the bay freezes up.
Yeah, because they can survive the colder weather.
That's right, as long as they can find food, they don't mind the cold.
Okay. And the Americans are going to hate to hear this, but they're a bit of a scavenger too.
They are.
So they'll find food even if it's garbage.
That's right. In fact, we've seen them in the fields out here in early winter feeding on roadkill. Like if a deer has been killed at the side of the road, they'll often be in. And yeah, they'll take what they can get. They can actively hunt, but they also are scavengers, yes.
Well, and it opens up a whole new area for them that other birds would have to leave if they had such a particular diet. They wouldn't be able to survive over the winter if they had to catch their food all the time.
That's right. It's sort of like us. Sometimes we do better if we're not too picky.
Yeah. See, I always tell people I am not a fussy guy and I will survive. I'm like a cockroach that way. We can omnivore to the max. Okay. There's a lot of open areas. Can people launch their canoes from these spaces as well?
Yeah, they could if they wanted to. I think most people launch at the dock. It's just a bit more convenient and they don't have to carry as far. Again, we did see the one turtle nest. It's kind of a precarious area for turtle nesting. It's good today, and if the water levels stay like this, they hatch successfully. They don't get eaten first, but if we get a big summer storm, all those eggs will be underwater, which would probably spell the end of them for this year.
And it's got to be at least dry for, what, about 35 days?
At least, the snapping, most of our turtles nest in June, and the snapping turtles, it's generally late September, early October that they're coming out. So they do need nice, dry, warm nest conditions for 2 or 3 months until they hatch.
Well, thank you, David. I've had a great time out here.
You're welcome.
We saw lots of stuff along here that there's no way we would have seen from the trails. So let's see if we can find Rachel and see if she's found anything. If she's found a snake, I'm going to be so excited and upset at the same time. I just spotted these from the side of the trail. They're fairly small eggs, but it looks like they all got out. They're not broken into a million little pieces.
No. Do you think they're snapping turtle?
I'm not sure. They're pretty small, so they might be a painted turtle, Midland painted turtle. It looks like there were quite a few.
Yeah.
Although sometimes when you see this many shells all together and broken, usually it means a predator.
Yeah, like a raccoon or something. Maybe
Yeah.
a skunk.
But this, I mean, this would have been filled in after a rain. So even if this is where they were coming out of,
Yeah.
and this is not a big distance for the turtle to come up and lay.
It's good. It's nice sandy. Yeah.
Easy to dig in.
Yeah. I don't think there's anything underneath.
Oh, yeah, there's some right there.
Are there? Oh, then there
I mean,
you go.
they're broken, but
Look at me. I'm digging where I think I should dig, and you're digging where you should dig. You know, I've never seen turtle shells before in the wild. Look at that.
David was really interesting to talk to.
David was amazing. He actually intimidated me with how much he knows.
You could tell he loves his job.
Yeah.
And he said he really likes to get out of the office once in a while and come out here and have fun with us.
Yeah.
So
We
this was
should
nice.
definitely do that again.
It was good.
Yeah.
I didn't find any snakes. Rachel says she saw a snake. I don't know. I think maybe just the heat got to her maybe a little bit.
The overcast heat. Yes, that's what did it to me. Not this guy right here.
But we had fun. So you can do the same thing. Just come on out and visit the Menacing Wetlands.
You don't even need any of this fancy stuff. You could just come out with your hands, have a good time.
Or a dollar store net.
Or dollar store net.
You can never have too many nets. That's what we learned today.
Yes.
Always bring more nets. So thanks for joining us on Out and About in Simcoe County, and we'll see you next time.
We got some really good pictures of him and the damselflies. Is he croaking?
He's talking to you.
He was
You're the
croaking
girl.
earlier.
Either that or he's warning me. It's my space. You can have it.